Can you dig any deeper now? I gave you all I own, put you on this golden throne, but I'm a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises, you know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises, you know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now, a little stronger now, a little stronger now, a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises, you know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night. I am, of course, BMR sitting in tonight. Thanks, everybody, for coming in. Wherever you are in the world today, it's midnight here, 11 Central, wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much for coming in. I've got, of course, the lovely Brandi and Monica coming on up to join me shortly. Krista is got some other things going on. She'll be back next week, I think. I don't know with that woman. She's always got things going on Saturdays, but she'll be back with us, I'm sure, next weekend. I think it is. So, but anyway, thanks for coming on in once again. If you're new here, please subscribe to Bigfoot Mr. Rob on YouTube, the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast on YouTube, Monica Rollins, Our Paranormal World on YouTube, as well as Texas Front Porch. Thanks to everybody. You can find us on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, wherever podcasts are found. And for the podcasters out there, I've been getting messages. Not some, I don't get many. I don't even know how to follow the podcast, to be honest. But there was a couple random things I got via email from people that watch it on podcasts, whether that's on, Apple or Google or wherever you go. I don't even know them. See, I don't really listen to podcasts too often. Some people find it a little confusing. So this message is for some of the people that listen on podcasts. The podcast that drops is a week after the live show ends, and a live show is a video format on YouTube. So if you want to catch us out live in the video to see our lovely faces and see the people in the chat room, come check us out on our channel. So again, I'm going to mention that every once in a while for the people that do, in fact, watch us on the downloads on the podcast format. So that was just really the only bit of newsworthy news I had here regarding that. Of course, I'm getting so many things on here. I got to condense this. Thanks to everybody for buying my books. My new book's out, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Prison's True Cryptid Encounters Book 2 on Amazon. It's about 2 months old now. And Book 1 is, of course, still out. What I find out about Amazon and writing books is kind of cool. Once it's out there, much like the internet. It's forever going to be in the universe long after I'm gone. So I'll make $0.25 a day, I guess, even when I'm dead. How about that? I know that sounded kind of morbid, but it is Halloween after all. Type Bigfoot Mr. Rob, Amazon browser, leave a review, and of course, subscribe to our channels across the board. And I got to bring up the lovelies. Hi, Brandi.
Hey, happy Saturday or Sunday morning, wherever you are, maybe.
That's right. And of course, Monica.
Hey.
I was just doing that little intro and I had mentioned about, I'll make a quarter after I'm dead. That didn't really sound, that was a little eerie. Rob, talk about his future death and how my book will still be out there in the universe. But it is what it is, right?
It's your immortality.
Yeah, God. I'll be you. This will be on forever. It's funny. I mean, YouTube will probably be around forever. And all the things that we do on the media today, it's gonna be on and on and on. It's not gonna go away. Someone will find us 500 years from now.
That's right.
I mean, think about it. This stuff could be shooting out into space, and the aliens are going to see us. I mean, my goodness.
No. Absolutely. I mean, we could be first contact. I mean, it's an out there thought, right? But think about it. I mean, we are broadcast into the universe. Now, there's millions of people that do broadcasting throughout the world, but there's always one. There's everybody in the world. And I bet you the aliens are looking down at us now. I was watching this one show. I'm not going to say the name of the show. The guy was convinced that every time he went on air, he was being visited by off-worlders. Was convinced. And he was convinced that by doing the show, his particular show, that he was helping spread the good word of the ETs that are out there in the galaxy. I'm not going to drop the name of the show. It's kind of out there. You guys can find it. It's not very popular. However, it's out there. Needless to say.
The good words specifically. We are not going to.
I listened to him a couple times. This man also claimed to have dined with your Napoleon. Sat with King Arthur on the court. Was brought together by the aliens, by the Federation of the Galactic Worlds, or whatever that is.
The Federation.
You got it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who it is, but they'll be on the show in 3 months. No. I'll have them on the show. Don't get me wrong.
Sounds like an interesting time. That's all I got to say.
I have on Saturday with you guys. We don't have guests on Saturday nights, you guys. We just sit here and do our thing. But yeah, that would be a cool. At midnight, have the guy on, right? And it is a guy. He's got the long hair. He kind of has it, and he kind of reminds me of a Brit. I mean, his hair is full. Kind of looks like literally a wig that they wore back in the day. He's kind of an odd fellow.
You don't say.
My ratings might torpedo though after he opens his mouth for 20 minutes. There's a reason why he's got like 29 subscribers. Been doing it for like over a year.
Well, I mean, it could be entertaining at least.
Yeah,
right?
No, yes. Very entertaining. To say the least.
Well, or you could also be on Donnie Cho's show, and that could be entertaining.
Yeah, you could do skits with us. Skits are always fun.
You can do that. You can do a little Bigfoot porn.
That's the direction it seems like it's going sometimes.
Yeah, Donnie Cho says stuff. That's right. Yeah.
So evidently the skit tonight was Jason McLean said he was going to be like a Bigfoot slayer.
Oh, no. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, Donnie asked me to come on his show. And he didn't prep me beforehand because it was that night where I was doing like back to back shows. And I was a little bit, it's not that the previous show ran long. I had to eat dinner after that. Like I hadn't eaten.
Yeah.
So I took like 5 or 10 minutes to like shovel some food in my face before I hopped over to Donnie's show. And I assumed somebody would be on with him. So I was like not in a hurry. He was like not pressuring me to come on. Like, where are you? He was freaking out or anything. So I was eating, like maybe 10 minutes into the show, I pop on. And he's already going. He's the only one on. And he didn't have time to prep me. He had created, because he's got the Church of the Dog Man, and he's got the Elvis sighting thing, right? Well, he had started yeah. So he had started a new one, which was the Bigfoot Slayer Society, and its mission is to fully eradicate Bigfoot from the United States. And so I flew blind into that, where he's fully in character 2 weeks ago. And it took me a minute because I was like, what the It took me a minute. But I was like, okay, that's where we're going. So I just laid into that. I leaned heavy into that. So then tonight was a follow-up on it where Jason was trying to get us to recruit him. Like, Tex popped on for a minute and we were interviewing Tex, and then Jason came on acting all indignant that he was not invited on. And it went like, we were grilling him. It went a whole direction where I was accusing him of being like an alpha draconian, like spy, and he had to give me blood samples in the field. Like, I didn't believe he was human. And I mean, but Donnie was supposed to kill it after about 45 minutes, an hour, and Donnie wouldn't kill it. And so it was like dragging on, and Jason and I are just going after each other, and we were dying. I mean, we kept it up, but finally Donnie broke the fourth wall, and he told everybody, this is why Jason and Monica don't get together, because it's cats and dogs and this and that. And he broke the skit, and Jason was like, finally, good God, like, you were supposed to kick me out like 20 minutes ago. So
you never know with Donnie. I mean, yeah. It's just like Jason and I did a show on with him, and we did it over movies and a particular actor and blah blah blah. And we made it seem like we kicked Donnie out of the show.
Oh, yeah.
It was only me and Jason. Donnie was in the chat, and he never came into the show. He never came into the show like he was supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, he loves
to go.
Chaos. He likes to create it. He likes to, I don't know, control it or feel that he's controlling it anyway.
Right.
So whatever. It was fun. Obviously Jason and I were just playing with each other. and what was, the people that know us know that obviously we're joking, obviously.
We're goofing around, yeah.
But there are some people that were popping in like, Bigfoot are our friends, and you shouldn't be doing that. And I'm thinking, we're clearly not like serious. Like, you made me like, or I made myself in the previous like video a high priestess in the Church of Dogman, and so I mean, come on. And so I, because Jason and I were fighting. I was like, come on up to the pyramid, dude. Come on, I'll get that blood sample. I was like, and if you're human, then you're being sacrificed to the greater good, and if you're not, there's nothing there. That's not even a heart chamber for you, so you're okay.
It's just like we kicked Rob off right now.
Yeah.
He's gone. It's his show, but he's gone.
I was right here. I had to do something on my phone. I hate staring down, and so I might as well blank me out. But I was listening to their high priestess. I mean, yeah.
Clearly it's comedy. Clearly,
I have to start calling you high priestess.
And though, but here's the thing that Donnie hey, let's face it, no slam on Don. He's got a smaller people watching him right now, right? But he will run into those people that will get really mad. I mean, I mean, I don't care if we talk about in jest, hey, you're joking. Hey, man, I want to go shoot Bigfoot. Let's have this organization, and we all know it's funny and a pun, right? A parody.
Mm-hmm.
People will really, you'll get some hate. You'll get hateful emails. Let me tell you.
Okay, just for the record, for no hate mail, I don't want any. I'm not out there to kill anything.
Yeah, no, me either. Yeah.
I'm not trying to kill anything. I mean,
no,
yeah, I know
absolutely
you're not. But there are lunatics out there to follow us from a distance. That we've all gotten weird email. You say one thing that's out of somebody takes out of context.
Oh, they'll run with it, of course.
They run with that,
those are people that are, I mean, they're unhinged. Those are people that are just looking for reasons to slander or badmouth anybody,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that,
listeners
are smart. They know who that is. They know what they're about.
Yes, I think so.
Right.
I think you're right.
And just like I said, we're not those people. We may joke about it, but we're clearly joking.
I'm anti-shooting Bigfoot between the eyes. Even Dogman, I guess. I'm actually anti-kill anything, unless I got to hunt because I'm hungry, or I'm
like hunting for food is one thing, and I'm not out to kill anything unless it's actively trying to kill me.
Yeah. Well, if I have to defend myself, that's a different story.
That's a different story.
Oh, if Bigfoot's coming down my, breathing down my neck, and I know I get that thing. It's me or him. I'll try. Of course,
I don't even think I'd try because I don't think
we're not going to defeat a Bigfoot anyway, right?
They kind of are we going to make it even more mad by trying or what?
I got to tell you guys something. I don't know what I would do if I was chased down by a grizzly bear or a brown bear. You know how they say you just don't run, and I get it.
Oh hell no!
Lay on the ground and just kind of cover. Go in a fetus. Just cover up.
Mm-hmm.
Be like a baby. The fetal position. Yeah, okay, but boy, oh boy, that would be terrifying. Not knowing if you're just going to get dragged off, mauled.
Oof.
We've all unfortunately seen them, and because of our, I don't know. I do not know about you guys, but I'll sometimes if I'm on YouTube, I'll click on grizzly bear attack. I'll click it on, and some aren't too bad, but some are like absolutely terrible. I just made a new word. Terrible.
I've read reports.
That's terrible and horrible.
Yeah. And seen the photographs of brown bear victims. So no, you don't. Yeah, it is terrifying, and that is one thing that I've never ever pretended that I would mess around with as a bear, because they can't retract their claws.
Right,
they can't.
They can't be gentle.
No,
their talons
are out all the time. Yeah,
their claws are just out. So it's like they can't be gentle. Even if they wanted to pat you, you're still going to get a claw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I ain't messing around with bears.
No.
I've seen a hand with the claws really up close and personal before on a really cool picture. And boy, I tell you what, a lot of them are like 6 inches long. I don't realize how long they are. A lot of these bears, especially a lot of the older ones, they're not short either. The claws, correct?
Mm-hmm.
They're relatively long.
They'll come off
and thick.
Yeah,
and thick. Yeah, they're very thick. Yeah,
they're blunted for sure.
You're not going to bust one of those puppies off.
I mean, it's like getting stabbed with a butter knife. I'm good. That's okay. Like 5 of them.
It's gonna hurt and then really hurt. You know what I mean? It's not even gonna be a smooth stab. It's just gonna
stab with a butter knife would hurt. It's not pointy.
No.
Just give me a steak knife in the belly, for God's sakes.
Right?
A good steak knife, from not with the serrated edge, just the, sheath.
I'm sorry, but I'm telling you what, the paring knives from Pampered Chef, now they will slice you and you won't even know. And they're just these little itty bitty knives, just for paring stuff. And they will cut you before you know it. And you're like, I'm bleeding. Where am I bleeding from? Done it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I buy new chef knives, like I always slice myself with them.
Yeah, you got to at least once. It's like breaking man or something.
I will say this: I cut my fingers or even part of my hand more than once a week with around the house, preparing some sort of food. I do anything,
better than a bear claw.
Yeah,
got some added protein in Rob's food, so be careful when he cooks because there's going to be some protein in there.
You get some blood, you get a little trippage, just like my my witch blood.
Being indoctrinated.
It's funny because it is starting Halloween, and we're gonna do some cool stuff. I think on the shows moving forward. Today is we're just winging. Today, I got a couple things, but I was watching Monica though. I just happened because I always forget you're on Thursday night. I just do because it's Thursday night football, which I'm that's during your airtime.
Well, I mean, it is our fantasy league, so we got to keep up with the football.
Yeah, I've got to watch football. In fact, after this show, I'll be up. My adrenaline will be going, and I'll fall asleep. I think I get up and watch the Jets and the Vikings. That's fantasy football related, and I think they're playing in Brazil, so that'll be on like 8:30 or 9 in the morning tomorrow.
Okay.
So I'll be up. I'll got my phone already set for that one. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm a warrior, Brandi.
Yeah, you are.
I am not that dedicated on a Sunday morning. I'm just saying. Well,
I don't mind getting up early on Sunday, but I just don't do shit. I'm in my recliner with my coffee. I don't even put on no clothes, new clothes. I wear my t-shirt and my my bottom pants that I have on.
Everybody, that's his pajama pants.
Yeah, it is. Hey, it's after midnight, man. I'm not wearing no.
Hey, most of my shows I'm doing mine in pajama pants.
Yeah.
I like those shows back in COVID where you had the news announcers that had the tie on and the jacket. I was watching this. They were doing bloopers for a local guy here. You had, you had the tie on. You looked really good. And they're at their house doing the news. They had that, set up. And during commercial break, he went to get up to refill his coffee or whatever. And sure enough, he forgot to mute his thing. He got up and you seen the guy with no pants on. He had his underwear on. Broadcast on national TV. Well, local.
I'm sure that happened a lot.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah, I'm sure it did happen quite often. But anyway, going back to Thursday night, I just happened to, see Monica was on. And I took your advice. You probably don't remember saying this. Maybe you do. You seem to have a good memory. You're talking to Joe Breezy about watching the Mayfair Witches.
Yes, Mayfair Witches. And he started watching it.
I remembered that. I started watching it Friday. Finished it this morning.
Awesome.
I watched them. I can't wait for season 2. Although for me, it was kind of confusing a little bit.
Doesn't follow the books super well.
Yeah, it doesn't. And I love the book series. I read the whole series.
Oh, you've seen some of the Brandi, you've been watching the Mayfair Witches?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. I watched the whole season.
Well, I just watched it within the last 48 hours, all of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you binged it. Okay.
Yeah, no, I binge stuff like that because once I'm into it, I mean, if I like something, I just complete it.
Yeah, but this is very strange for Rob though, because during football season that doesn't happen a lot. He doesn't binge watch anything but football.
Yes, because I remember Monica mentioned it Thursday, and then I binged it. I started watching it Friday at 10 at night, and about 3 in the morning I went to bed, and I got up at 7 and finished it from 7 to. I watched all 8, however long that was. Yeah. So I still don't know who the woman is. In the very beginning, they go back to the 1800s or whatever. Mm-hmm. I know that who she's the original Mayfair witch, right? The girl.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the mom of? That's not Rowan's mom, right? Who is that? Who is that? Rowan, who's the main character.
The one who's at the party that is kind of in a catatonic state.
No, that's Rowan's mom. But who's the one?
Rowan.
Who's the one in the very beginning? They always go back to the 1800s of the old time witch.
Yeah.
The girl, she was put in the cage in season 1 or 2, and they almost burnt her. And then
that was the original one, wasn't it?
I'm trying to remember because it goes back several generations.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who this woman is.
Because for some reason, I keep going back to like Scotland or Ireland, like the very like.
Well, this is like reminds me more of like. Well, yeah, it's during the barbaric times. I mean, when they drown witches, and if you drown, that means you weren't a witch.
Yeah.
Go figure.
I mean, you're going to die either way. Yeah. I mean, you just take your pick on which horrible way you want to do it.
It's not a big deal, Monica. That's the only character I couldn't quite figure out.
To be honest with you, I cannot
but it's not. I understand that I understand the whole premise of the show and everything. That was just what I was like, who is this person?
I would have to go rewatch it, to be honest with you, and tell you, because I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you liked it. If you do end up in New Orleans, a lot of it was filmed in New Orleans. And when I was there last, I actually toured a lot of the locations that it was filmed. Like the Mayfair house is like right there on Prion Street, like right down from where I was staying last time I was there. And it's really cool. I mean, of course, New Orleans is just a really awesome city.
Yeah, I kind of caught wind of that because it's not often I watch the end of the credits, but I was kind of watching the end of the credits. I've seen a lot of New Orleans studios are filmed on location in New Orleans, and then a lot of the other, like most of these Netflix ones. It was on AMC, but I think a lot of it was in the UK too, if I'm not mistaken. Some of it.
It might have been at the studios there.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, good. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, I mean, it was different for sure.
So the next one you need to watch is Dark Winds. Okay. That's on AMC also.
Yeah.
Called Dark Winds. It's based again on a book series, and it takes place on the Navajo reservation in the 70s.
Dark Winds.
Oh. Okay.
It's good. It's like a detective, like a crime series.
It sounds familiar though.
I've breezed through that on Netflix.
It's on AMC.
Yeah, but and Netflix carries AMC stuff now.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah.
When did that come out though? I mean,
it came out like there's 3 seasons, I want to say. So it came out a while ago, and it's been a minute since the last one. But there's another season coming out in 25.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's fresh on my mind. So that was a good program. Now this Dark Winds, I know what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure that I've
seen if you watch like a preview for it, you'll know whether or not you see.
Yeah. Yes, that'd be cool. So I guess go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if you've seen the series but you haven't read the books, read the books, because the books aren't exactly to the series.
Well, what I always do is when I start watching, like now this is referring back to the Mayfair Witch. Once I get into a series, it takes me 2 or 3 episodes to be honest. And I'm like, okay, this is good. Then I go on my phone and I'll look up. I try to cheat ahead. But I look for the history behind everything, though. Right. Especially if I don't understand some parts, I will. Now, who the hell is this again? Because I forget the name.
Keep it straight.
Yeah, I got to keep the name straight, especially when there's a lot of characters. This one's not so many, though.
I mean, Mayfair Witches was pretty good. I mean, you just have to remember the key witches, and then Lasher is is really important in it. The demon that ties them all together.
Yeah, the spiritual entity thing.
Oh, he's a demon.
I was trying to be nice, but okay,
With
demon.
that guy?
He's
Oh.
Yes. Yes, he's a demon. But he was very important to the whole entire story.
Yeah, well, I couldn't figure out if he was a good demon, a good spirit.
He's trying to come into this world, is what he's doing. He's trying to get the witches to come in.
So when the baby comes forward, that will help him become a flesh and blood, I think. That's my gist of it.
Yeah.
To the unknown out there, my Gmail is actually scrolling up here. It's beyondbmr@gmail.com. You can check out the scrolling thing. If you're unless you're on your phone, you might not be able to read it. I don't know. So yeah. So in the spirit of Halloween and that, and talking a little about the witches, we should break down this. That'd be cool. I'd like to talk about this with you guys. Not maybe on the show because it's kind of like a book club, right? We all just binge. Well, I just binged. We all got something in common for watching these shows.
Yeah.
But I did a piece on Baba Yaga, which is a witch.
Yep.
I'm gonna read this, you guys, because I got it from this periodical, and then we can just kind of rap about this for a little bit. It's kind of interesting, and frankly, it's frightening. I never knew about this until I just happened to glance. I think I found this at when I was in the shopping mall, where some grocery store. I might have been reading through a magazine. Then I looked it up online. Baba Yaga, the enigmatic trickster who has a taste for children. Mm-hmm. Russia has a vengeful boogie woman, a folklore figure of oral tradition still used today to terrify children into obedience, lest she be unleashed to eat them. She was first mentioned in writing in a Russian grammar book in 1755, but oral Slavic folk tales of her escapades stretch back much further. In Old Russian, a baba could refer to a midwife or sorceress, and the standard modern Russian word for grandmother, babushka, comes from it. That's funny about babushka, you guys, because my grandmother, who was part Polish, that's what they wrapped on their heads. They call it a babushka, which is basically a do-rag today. Anyways, linguists suggest that Yaga might be interpreted as, among other things, disease, illness, horror, chill, witch, evil woman, rage, fury, anger, torture, pain, and worry. She is Baba Yaga, a shapeshifter of a different sort. It is her deeds rather than her physical form that are so malleable. She is a trickster who sometimes helps, sometimes imprisons, and often eats people, preferring children. She is frequently described as a crone, which I don't know what that is. Perhaps you can tell me later, Monica, and may be seen flying in her mortar while holding a pestle in her hand and a broom in the other that she uses to sweep away and trace her movements. Black geese accompany Baba Yaga on her endless search across the vast Russian countryside for children in which to feed. She is powerful, changeable, and entirely unpredictable. At one turn, she might be an ogress who steals, cooks, and eats her victims. Her house surrounded by a fence topped with human skulls. Her door is a keyhole full of the sharpest teeth. At other times, she serves as a guardian of the fountains of the waters of life. She is often said to live with 2 or 3 sisters, all of whom are known as Baba Yaga. She might accompany death and devour human souls. Thought most often she is the villain of her tales. Baba Yaga is sometimes known to help and bring to her quarry an awareness of themselves and the world around them. Some describe her as part wicked witch, part fairy godmother, and more powerful than either as a result. Though there are a myriad of versions of her exploits, her appearance is rather set. Baba Yaga is enormous. She is also described as ugly and very old. When she lies down, her nose touches the ceiling. She lives deep in the forest in a magical hut that totters high in the trees and can move about on a pair of gigantic chicken legs, complete with dimpled skin and claws that pick their way along the forest floor. Now, what the hell is that? Can you imagine seeing that?
Right.
Chicken leg, old crusty old woman with a nose 10 feet long. Good Lord.
Yeah. She's the boogeyman.
Man.
For sure.
Baba Yaga, I first heard that term. That's why I was unfamiliar with it. John Wick, Baba Yaga.
Yeah, they called him Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he was the boogeyman.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's like the wicked witch, but I mean, she can be helpful. She does eat children. She's known to eat children, which I don't find makes her benevolent in any manner in that case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't care how good you are to an adult if you're eating kids on the backside, like no.
Exactly. I mean, yeah.
Right. And her house, she's got like this shack on like giant chicken legs, like on giant, and she flies around in a pestle, right? A mortar and pestle.
Okay.
And which I always thought was really weird, like of all the things, like you're hopping around in a bowl with a grinder, essentially.
Yeah.
So I have a question. Is Hansel and Gretel kind of modeled after that?
You know, you could say, the witch in there could be a Baba Yaga. She doesn't really fit it in that her house doesn't have the chicken feed, but that she's luring the children in to cook them and eat them does fit the narrative. So you could say that she is
a Baba Yaga. Okay. Okay.
You could say she's a type of Baba Yaga, right? I would guess, but in that she's eating the children and luring them in.
Well, yeah, because because in Hansel and Gretel, the house was made of candy or whatever to lure the children in. So maybe it was really on chicken legs. She just made it look like it was candy.
I mean, sure. I mean, that's entirely possible. Even though Hansel and Gretel is, that's German, right? And Baba Yaga is more Eastern European, little more to the
whatever I just read, Russian. Russian.
Yeah, but you know how those stories kind of spread.
Well, they merge, right? Because Germany's right there. I mean, it's not far apart.
Right.
So I mean, why not? You hear those stories and it's going to blend into folk tales and stories in the countryside. So why not? They'll make it into their own. Absolutely.
It's funny because I've always watched like witch stuff, like I watched that, I just finished the series you mentioned, and I've been into witches. In fact, I bought this thing for Halloween about witches that I'm reading right now for a couple shows, right? Which is very cool. But for all the things I've experienced, it's always been the witches getting burnt at the stake in Europe or whatever country it is or continent. And these men, these women, they grab these witches and these women. They're not scared of them, and then they put them to the stake. And I think these people were so dumb. Okay, you're a witch. We got you tied to the stake. Use your magic. Show us your magic. Admit you're a witch. In a lot of these cases, these women weren't even witches. So how in the hell, if you're an actual witch, Monica, it doesn't make sense. And Brandi, if I was a witch or a warlock and I was at a stake, and I really was, and someone said, show me your powers, you think I'd let them stake me in the first place?
Right.
I mean, it doesn't make sense. If you're a witch, they got you, they secured you. Right then and there, it should tell you this person's got no power. You're not going to let a mere mortal get me. So
they were thinking that, right, they're compelled through Christ, right? They're compelled through their religion, and the witches are being subdued through that religion, right? The power of Christ compels you, right? With the thing.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. They think that they have like power over these people and they're being secured through that. And that's like their powers are, you know, not gone, but dampened to the point that they can get them, right? And tie them up and do what they want. Because there are a lot of curses that were put on people while these witches were being burned, which, I mean, shit, if you're burning me at the stake, I'm going to be cursing out everybody I'm looking at too.
Exactly.
Like, I'm going to tell you everybody's crops are failing. You SOB that drug me out here.
Oh,
you put the fire on the sticks. You tying the
rope. You know, if I'm not, I tell you what, if I'm not a witch or in my case a warlock, and I was burnt at the stake, I am hexing everybody and scaring them and say, I'm going to be back and get you all, even though I'm not.
Yeah.
If I could even utter the words, you'd have to be in so much pain by that time.
I mean, just your fate is sealed. I mean, I'm sure you're praying or doing whatever you're doing right at the end of your life, I would imagine. Yeah. But also just rage. Some people must have been feeling like, you gotta be freaking kidding me.
Yeah.
You people are morons. Okay. You think I'm a witch? All right, I'll be a witch.
Yeah.
I'll show you what a witch does.
Jojo, a horrific way to die. Yeah, I tell you what, you guys, I know we all think this, I mean, not that we're morbid, but every once in a while you just get that little thought in your head throughout your lifetime. Man, what would be a really crappy way to die? To me, burning in a fire like that, and another one would be like drowning. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
You know, fall into the deep, dark abyss of the ocean, and you can't come swim to the top, and just kind of
it burns. It hurts.
Yeah, it does. I mean, if you hold your breath as long as humanly possible, you know, I mean, it starts to hurt a little bit. You know, where it's like, you know.
Well, no, the water coming into your lungs
after that, but even just holding your breath will burn after a while. And that's nothing compared to once you open your mouth and you're taking all that water. Ooh, yeah. Anyways.
Oh, look, the Bigfoot Slayer's here in the chat.
Hey, the Bigfoot Slayer. Donnie Cho's the one, everybody. Donnie Cho, the Bigfoot Slayer.
Send him the emails.
Send him all the dirty, nasty emails. But yeah, so you know, Brandi mentioned this the other day, and you never heard this, Monica. And this is a story. I'm doing it today. I'm not, we got Halloween. I keep saying I'm gonna wait till Halloween to do Halloween stuff. Well, hell, we got 3 more shows left. Halloween will be over on Saturdays, right?
Dude, it's Kukui season, the whole month of October.
I got Brandi mentioned this. I just don't have the picture, Brandi, but we don't need the picture because I got rid of it. Okay. I had this weird I gotta go back. A lot of history involved with this, okay? It's about my mom, her grandfather, okay, and me to an extent, right? Very spooky what I'm about to tell everybody, and kind of sad for my mom in a way. So I'm just tell a little the background on all this. My mom, she when she was born, my grandmother, okay, was a bit of a floozy. Okay, she my mom was basically grandma got it on in a restaurant with some dude in the bathroom. That's how my mom, boom, came about. Okay, yeah, and then my mom's mom went on to have 3 other daughters with my now passed now, but step grandfather, which I never knew was my step grandpa until I was like in my late teens. Okay. So my mom is herself, and she's got 3 siblings, 3 from my grandma eventually got married to this guy who was a hobo too, by the way, she found on a train. He stumbled off of a train, and my grandmother was attracted to this guy. And then they wed, but he ended up getting a job. So that worked out. He was a very beautiful guy. I love the guy. Never knew he was my granddad either, but that's crazy. So that's kind of that with my mom's situation. With the sisters were half sisters. The dad was a stepdad because she lived with her grandfather, which was my grandmother's brother. Or no, she lived with her grandfather, which would have been what? My grandma's dad? Yeah. Okay. There we go. Right? Yeah. So they lived up north, and because my grandma didn't like my mom, so she'd always send her there up north. Young girl between she grew up literally up there between the ages of 4 and 12, and went to school up there a little bit, and then finally came down to Detroit. But always took care of her grandfather. Her grandfather was a bit of a drunk. He owned a candy store up north, but he taught my mom at a young age how to sail a little sailboat. She went underneath the Mackinac Bridge with my my one uncle, who was my godfather, Pete, because he takes a turn in this tale as well. Pete, I call him Pete. So, yeah, so she kind of grew up, and my grandma would make my mom go in to punish my mom. She would make my mom go in a closet and kneel on hard peas, where they were getting bent. They'd go up in her kneecaps and stuff. Very, I guess my grandma. I found this out thankfully after she was gone. My mom never told me and my brother about my grandma because she didn't want us to hate our grandma, which I give my mom a lot of credit because what she did to my mom was horrible. So life goes on, and grew up with all the sisters. They liked my mom, but they knew she was the outsider. She was different. And my mom was pretty compared to my 3 aunts, who were kind of not all that attractive. I mean, just the way it goes. She got the good genes, I guess, from getting that from the guy in the diner, I guess, had good genes. But yeah, so went on with her life, and my mom throughout all of her life my mom, for the longest time, wanted to find her dad, her real dad. And my grandmother never told my mom. She said, I'm taking that to my grave. She'd always tell my mom, you will never know who your dad is, real dad. I'm never telling you. Kind of wrote him off, and my mom didn't investigate it like today. She doesn't care today, you guys. She's not doing that DNA stuff or nothing, but her mom was really, really mean to her about that. So that's kind of some of the backlog to the story, because that takes place a little later. So anyway, her grandfather. There was this picture when I was growing up. There was this picture of my grandfather in one of these bubbles. It's one of those portraits. It's an old picture of my grandfather, or my mom's grandfather. It would be my great grandpa, I guess. And those bubble, they're very old. It's shaped like an oval, and it's got the beautiful mahogany frame, and there's the old time pictures are in the back, and then it's covered with a thick glass. It's shaped like an egg, like a bubble. I know Brandi knows what I'm talking about. I don't have the picture because I got rid of the picture, and that picture I put somewhere else, Brandi, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was going to take a picture, but I put it up somewhere to see if we got that same result, which I'll tell you guys about in a minute. So anyway, long story short, I'm trying to explain this very poorly. It's a very odd looking picture, and I think it's very haunting looking. And it's my mom's grandfather, who she grew up with for part of her life up north. Leave it at that. In my home that I grew up in, with my mom and dad, she had that eerie picture in her bedroom. Okay. So fine and dandy. I always looked at it even as a kid. I'm thinking, boy, who's that? Well, this is my grandpa, your great grandpa. Okay. Blah, 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 whatever. So one night we're all sitting, in fact, my dad had already passed. Yeah, my dad's already had passed. No, this is before my dad passed away, because I had to move my mom into my house after my dad passed. So I was at my original house where I grew up in. So my dad was still alive. So we're sitting around and we're talking, and this is late at night, you guys, and all of a sudden we heard this crash, boom, okay? Something in her bedroom fell to the ground, hit the floor. And we get up, and it's that picture, that big, heavy, now this picture's heavy, mahogany wood frame. It's the big, thick glass bubble of glass. And it was hooked. It was literally mounted into the wall with like industrial like anchors and fasteners where it's not going nowhere. It's you can't even pull it off. And we all go in there and I look at it and everything, nothing's broken. The back of this picture isn't broken. The fasteners are in the wall. I even get it. I look at it. There's nothing wrong with this picture either. There's no break in the glass. There's no chips in the wood. It's perfect. I put it up and I put it on the wall. And now this time as I'm putting it on the wall, I realize, how in the hell did this fall off? There's just no way in hell it fell off of the wall. So very creepy. So now within 2 minutes of taking this picture and putting it back on the wall, the phone rings. And it's one of my mom's sisters. And the sister had said that Pete, my uncle Pete, my godfather, who was the son of the grandpa, committed suicide and died. And right after he did that is when the picture fell. Okay, so there's a time reference there. And we found that to be very eerie. Wow, because that was his dad. The son takes his life. 2 minutes later, a couple minutes later, the picture falls off in my mom's bedroom. And again, there's no way a human, it would be hard if you knocked into this picture on accident, you couldn't knock it off the wall. That's how secure it was and how heavy it was. So we found that to be odd. And then, of course, another worst part of the story is when my mom went to visit my grandma back in the day, because she ended up getting brain cancer. Okay. My grandma. She died, I think, at 62. And so when my grandma's on her deathbed, she has my mom in the hospital room. She goes, Penny. My mom's name's Pam, but everyone called her Penny. Come here, Penny. Come here. Come close. I'm going to tell you who your real father is. I'm going to give you his name. You can look him up. Now my mom, oh, great. My mom's dying, but now she's giving up my dad's name. How weird. Come close, Penny. Come close. This is how evil my grandma was. She smiles at her and says, I'm never telling you. And she died within seconds.
What a witch.
True story. True story.
Yeah. So now listen. So a couple of years go by and I decide, well, time for mom to move in Rob's house, right? Because we all decided, I just heard something weird. Anyway, that must be in your house, Monica. Okay, they're slamming the door or something. Okay, no big deal. So I'm glad it's not any, ghosts visiting or double checking.
Right.
Because we know Brando over here.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you hear something coming through mine, we got a problem.
Definitely Brandy's.
Yes, we have a problem.
So you guys got that story. Now the gist of now we're fast forwarding a little bit now after my dad passes, right? It's been decisive. Look, you guys, I'm single, blah, blah, blah. Monica in my house, just ship her over here. Let's just do it. Okay. So that's what we did. So she's got her space. I got my space. It's fine. And I see her when I see her every day.
Every day.
So
Rob and I have that same look. We're like, every day.
Every day, yeah.
God. Every day.
Mm-hmm.
So in this house, here comes that old creepy picture of her, grandfather, right? And I'm thinking, well, I don't want to hang this. Want me to hang this in your bedroom like last time? Nah, it's time to put it away. Put it away somewhere. She goes, could you hang it downstairs?
No.
I said, no, where I hang out? No, absolutely no. No. I found it. Well, for whatever weird reason I put it up in a far corner of the basement area, in a corner where I don't really go too often. And then I covered it. I put some shit in front of it, okay?
You're like, that's
yeah, I'll just, okay, you know what? I'll be respectful. I just won't put it in an attic and shut the door forever. I'll hang it up at least. My mom did love the man. But yeah, why she don't want him? And I can see why. I mean, I don't know why she wanted that picture in her bedroom. It's to me, god awful ugly. But to me, it's very haunting. Now, here's the thing. The picture's beautiful. I mean, the picture itself is in good condition. The glass is in great condition. So I was on the Blondes and the Boos about a year or so ago.
Yep.
And we were talking about ghosts and stuff or whatever we was talking. And I started telling this story to these guys that I just told you, Monica, and everyone listening. And there was also Paranormal Pixie. I was also, I think, in the chat room that was saying she was getting vibes from the picture.
Right.
There's a crack in the picture. There's an oddity or a flaw in the picture. And I'm like, no, there's nothing. And she was kidding because she's, I guess, a psychic or a medium or whatever you call it, right? So we're like, okay. And the girls, usually the Brandi or Chris, says, oh, is that by you? I said, yeah, it's about, 20 feet over, covered in crap. I got, So these guys want me to take a picture during the show. So I did. So I just, I got up and I had to get all this crap off the picture and take my camera, my phone, I snap a couple photos, come back, and I send them over to Krista. So Paranormal Pixie was saying she saw this weird crack or something, whatever. So when the picture, and I look at the picture on my phone, and then when I sent it over to Krista, we blew it and put it on the screen. Do you know that there was like a crack, first of all, that showed on the picture coming right down the outer glass, which could have been a reflection. We all, I think, said it might have been a reflection. But the thing that was weird is on the inside, on the actual portrait, was a bunch of weird, what were they, like tears it looked like, Brandi? They were like lines that came down and over like a square. Very distinctive in the picture on my phone. On Krista's phone, you could see it as plain as day. You can't miss it. It almost looked like paint peeling. You know how the paint starts to peel when it cracks? And you get that. That's kind of what it looked like, kind of lifelike. And I have to excuse myself up from the show. And I get up and I go back into the corner. And I'm now really checking this picture out. And I'm looking. There's not a flaw in the glass. There's not a single flaw in this picture. Yet on the photo, it brings out all of these weird, two weird things. The upper left-hand corner's got the flaws, and then the glass, which I think could have been a let's call it what it is. It could have been a flash. I don't know. But Pixie was saying that because she had mentioned she's seen that in a vision in her head during our show about what I was talking about, which we thought was strange, that how it prompted the whole thing about taking the picture.
Right. And we did. And it was there.
And we did, and it was there. So that was very strange. Now, I don't think my great grandfather haunts us. I think he's probably a pretty cool dude. I'm very cool to my mom. So I was we just found that to be weird. That was a high strangeness night. Let me tell you.
Sure.
Well, because that remember, that story prompted my story about a picture. Now, the picture that my mother had in her house, same thing. It's in an oval frame. It has the bubble glass. And I believe it was my great-great-grandparents. Their picture was in this particular thing. So I got to asking about this picture. Who were they? I mean, there was somebody I've never met, who are they? Da, 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 da. So my mom says, well, your grandmother told me a story about having this picture in their old house before they had moved to Missouri. They lived in Ohio, so they moved to Missouri. And anyway, so that picture had fell off the wall, much like what Rob was saying. Picture fell off the wall. Well, the glass broke on the front. Well, those are very hard to replace. You can't find them too often. So they just hung the thing up and just left it without the bubble glass to cover it. So then they started having things happen in the house. Like they would hear somebody running in the attic, like running across the attic. They didn't have an attic. They would hear somebody running from bedroom to bedroom. We weren't living there. There was only my grandma and grandpa. They just hear footsteps going from bedroom to bedroom and all over the place. So finally, one of my aunts said, hey, I think it's that picture. Get it covered.
Right.
Find a piece for it. So they looked and looked and looked, and they finally found that bubble glass and replaced that bubble glass. Never had a problem out of that picture again. So my mom, after both my grandparents had passed and she was going through old pictures and she's trying to sort them out, she says, I just have too much. Everybody's going to get the pictures they want and da, 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 da. And she asked me if I wanted this picture. Now, me being the only one of the grandchildren who knows about that picture, I said, absolutely not.
Right.
I don't want that picture, right?
Exactly.
And she's like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. She goes, I don't want it here either. And I said, I don't want it either. So anyway, probably about 3 months later, maybe 4 months later, her house burnt down.
Oh.
Okay. With the picture in it. So with that picture being there and the glass being broken and everything into the ground now, my mother never moved back on the property. She moved in with me. There's some other people who bought the property and built a house in the exact same spot. So I'm wondering still to this day, this 5-6 year, it's been 5 years since they built that house down there. Are they being haunted?
That's a good question.
I'm wondering because I'm like,
there's a solid probability. Because it is uncovered. Because it was burnt. Does that mean that, whatever was actually attached to that picture is released now? And it's, just hanging around? Maybe, but not necessarily. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. And that's what's weird. And that's how hauntings happen, ladies and gentlemen. They happen like stuff like that.
No, that's the ground gets haunted.
Yes, it's the ground, not the house. It's the ground. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know the people. Otherwise, I would stop and go, hey, you don't know me, but
right.
Yeah, right.
I have a question for you.
Your land might be haunted. I'm just curious.
Right. Because I've stayed there on and off, throughout some years. And I actually have one of my pets is buried out there, so I know, they had a couple acres of land. So I've got pets that are buried out there and all kinds of stuff out there. So I'm like, I don't know. I wonder if it is.
Right.
It just makes me wonder.
Could be.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, you'd have to get up the courage to knock on the door and ask.
I don't think
send somebody to do it.
I was like, hey.
Surveys in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Do you experience any kind of odd noises in the night?
I realized that that's 70 miles from my own home, but I was just cruising through your rural neighborhood out there. Thought I'd stop by and ask.
You know, it's funny because Monica just even brought up cursed grounds, cursed lands, and I gotta tell you, that's where I live. There's a lot of commonalities. Those are certainly, I believe in that. I believe in any lands that are cursed. Like, for example, I'm not getting into the story, but you both heard the story of my brother's first new house that he bought was built on an alien First Nations burial mound,
Right.
where his daughter my niece would talk to a ghost, an Indian of little ghost. And they became friends and told her that, white man bad killed my family, killed our tribe. And it turned out when my brother did research that where they had the houses were built was on this ancient mountain. Yes, certainly a bunch where a massacre took place. So he skedaddled out of there, and ever since he ran into a couple neighbors and said it was haunted, right? And you guys remember the story about Dead Man's Curve, right? There was a ghost down there with a guy with a decapitated woman. I seen ghosts down there. That's right. I saw the stick man down there. It's just a place where we hung out, right? But it also, Dead Man's Curve, that whole area goes for many miles. We just happen to hang at one part of it. But the strip, it's in the back of the woods that backs up the houses. Brandi, you know the story that I predicted that kid. I didn't predict. I got that bad vibe. That kid that was evil as a 5-year-old.
Yes.
Monica, I told you that.
Yeah.
Then he ended up murdering his grandmother.
Uh-huh.
Well, I always keep this part of this story kind of out because it doesn't flow well. But since we're talking about these weird grounds, and I'm not a detective, and this could just be coincidence, but a lot of us don't believe in coincidences. But I remember as a young kid, again, this kid was my same age, going through that Dead Man's Curve area because there was also a part where we would drive our motocross bikes because there was a cool little racetrack that a lot older kids built, so we would go on it, but it would lead through these back neighborhoods. And there's the one day, you guys, where, and this for all you cat lovers out there, plug your ears. Well, back in the creek, along the creek, we found a bunch of hung skin cats.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now listen though, that's creepy, and I'm sorry. Listen, you guys, I love animals. If I was there, I puked. I was sick to my stomach. I went to my mom and dad and literally started to cry, right? I found out a couple years later that area, if you go up the hill of the creek into the neighborhood, 3 houses over was that kid that I always thought was evil. I'm thinking maybe he had something to do with that. And for those who didn't hear that story, I'm not going to reiterate that story. I've told it ad nauseum. Basically, a bad dude. I surmised him, and he did a lot of weird stuff. And he, if he's still alive today, I don't know. Probably he's in prison. But yeah. Didn't they talk about 2 people start out just with mutilation of animals, bugs and animals that end up killing people? But this isn't true crime, so, but yeah.
Ugh. If you hurt animals, any animal.
Yeah. You got a loose screw.
F you. I got nothing for you.
I
stealing my oxygen.
Yes, sirree. I get you. So any Monica, you got any ghost stories to share that you've Brandi, you've been a member for 7 months. Wow, that's awesome.
Yep, 7 months. Yes. I thought I just throw that in there.
Does that pop up on the anniversary of the month, or you just joined? You joined along 7 months ago. Is that what
I joined 7 months ago? Yeah.
And so this is what YouTube does. That it says,
you can check where it says funding, like the little dollar sign at the bottom, usually, And that's where you can send your super chats and everything. Well, you can get in there once a month on your, after your month is up, and your next month you can send one chat like that, absolutely free. Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. I was wondering where that came from. It wasn't like I used to think it was somebody just be joined up and signed up for 7 months. That just means you've been a member for 7 consecutive months. Correct?
Yes. It means that my subscription has been paid for 7 months straight.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, there.
Very good. Well, thank you. So yeah, that threw me off there with the little green sign down there, Brandi. And I know we're off topic. I know we were off topic about haunted grounds, and so I'm familiar with haunted grounds, and I don't like bringing up that other story. That's why I always not say that part of the story, but I just had to include that because it's significant, I think, to what that.
Well, it probably was that little shit.
Probably was. But if
it definitely could have been. I mean, it all leads to that direction. I mean, because you have that kid had the tendencies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He had all
all the signs were pointing.
All the precursors, the markers, the whatever you want to call them, to be somebody very bad.
And here's the thing. Yes. Yeah. I like telling that story minus the skinning because to this day I can't believe that I had that vibe and I knew that about that person throughout my entire life. And everyone told me, and I warned everybody about that guy for like years, literally years, because the kid lived in my neighborhood. He was in my school system, was always in my classes. I got a bad vibe at 5, got a bad vibe at 10, 12. Rolling on the ground in gym classes when it really freaked me out because I kind of seen what this guy was, it seemed like. I didn't see it like the movies, oh my God, I've seen, but I got a strong vibe and pushed this guy away. And then when I get back home myself from college, the guy did what he did. Of all the weird things that have happened to me, that's something that I'll never, ever forget. I won't forget the other ones, but this stands out the most, I think, Brandi and Monica. Just to know that throughout my life. Then a guy did that.
Right.
Crazy. But enough of me. Monica, any paranormal, ghostly things associated with you and your growing up throughout your years?
Growing up?
Or maybe yesterday, you happened to talk to a ghost. I don't know.
Yesterday.
Growing up yesterday,
whatever you
51-year span. Anything weird happened? Anything?
The tap you on the back shoulder while taking a shower, which would be very creepy.
This house is probably the most haunted house I've lived in the longest. Now that I've actually lived in. Now, my first husband, when we first started dating, he was living with his mother. His father had passed away about 6 months before I met him. But he was still living at home with his mother and his sister. And that place was haunted. And whatever was in there was not nice. I don't know what it was. I don't want to know what it was, but it was not a nice thing. That was probably the most haunted house I've ever been in, like as far as like negativity goes. Mm-hmm. But this house that I'm living in right now is probably got the most activity. Like just, there's always something going on here. Mm-hmm. And it's not bad. Like what happens here isn't bad. It's just little things. I think the first thing that happened to me outside of, you smell the perfume, you know what I mean? Like you smell the woman's perfume, like, and it moves from room to room, and it's not a perfume I wear. It's like a gardenia based perfume. And I don't wear that. And it would be in one corner of my room.
Gardenia? Well, you smell like a garden?
No, it's a flower.
The flower. It's a very beautiful smelling flower.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
It's a very distinct fragrance.
It is. It is, but it's very beautiful. It's kind of like the orange blossom. You know, when you smell an orange blossom, you know it's an orange blossom. It's the same with the gardenia. You smell a gardenia, you know it's a gardenia.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
And it would start maybe by the bedroom door, and then it would move through my bedroom and go over into the corner, and then it would move over and go towards the patio door, and then it would just dissipate. But I think the first big thing that happened, I was getting ready for work one morning, and I want to say Chris was working second shift, so he was in bed asleep, and I always tried to be quiet. Lucas, I had taken him to school. My mother was living with me at the time, and she was asleep back in her bedroom at the back of the house. And I was in the bathroom getting ready, and I heard this giant ruckus in the kitchen. It sounded like I have all of my pots and pans hung on a baker's rack. And it sounded like my cat like either tipped over the baker's rack or something, like all the pots and pans like fell, like it was a commotion in the kitchen.
And I was thinking to death, really.
Yeah. And I was thinking, Jiminy Cricket, like, you know, we'd probably woke up Chris, number one. Number two, like, I've got to clean that up before I got to go to work. But I was like, you know, just trying to finish putting my makeup on and getting, you know, everything ready. I was like, I will clean it up on the way out the door because I have to go through the kitchen to leave anyway. Mm-hmm. So I didn't run in there. I didn't hear the cats, you know, and I couldn't remember if they were in or out. Didn't hear any of the cats running out of the kitchen. So I was like, what, you know, I was just getting ready. So then I walk into the kitchen to leave, and there is nothing out of place. There is not one thing on the floor. Like, I don't know what that was about. It was the craziest thing. Like, there was not a pan on the floor. There was not a dish on the floor. I don't know what that noise was. And then it didn't scare me. I was just thinking, you know, you got my attention. What do you want? I mean, it seemed like a ploy for attention.
That is kind of crazy. The weird noises, because you know what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, you like, you know exactly what happened. Hey, all the pans fell. The cats must have been messing around, and you're like thinking, that's exactly what I heard. That's it.
And it wasn't like one or two dishes. I mean, it was like a clatter, and you could hear stuff like, you know, like a lid, like wah, 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 you know, the sound it makes when it's like clattering to the floor. Yeah. And I was thinking, oh God, that's going to be such a mess. You know, I was just like,
right.
Oh. And yeah, that was, you know, unsettling, you know, to go in there and realize, okay, the ghosts, I mean, clearly this place is haunted. Yeah, as old as it is, people have died in my house. I know they have. You know, I wasn't shocked. And then the next one would be the ghost dog, right? That I've seen. That I haven't seen the full body of the dog. I see it leaving room, so I see it maybe from mid waist, like as it's turning the corner. But I don't own a dog. I own cats. I don't own a dog. And this is like a mid-sized dog. It's not colored like my cats, and it's far too large to be a cat. And my husband, you know, had never seen any ghosts in his life. And he didn't believe me until he saw the ghost dog. One day when I was gone doing something, my mother was gone. And I think she had taken Lucas with her to whatever she was doing. She did have a puppy at that time. But it was, you know, a young puppy, maybe 3 months old, still pretty small. But Chris had put it in the backyard because it was, you know, whining and making noise, and he was on the phone with his friend. So he's sitting in the living room, and our home is like well over 100 years old. It's an old arts and crafts bungalow. It's got the glass French doors that separate every room, and we just keep them open, right? So he was sitting in the living room, and he saw a dog run through the hallway doors, like into the living room, around and through like where I'm sitting right now into the dining room. And, through the doors and in here. And he thought it was my mom's puppy, and he said, I looked right at it. It was a dog. Like it was an animal. It wasn't the cats. It was a dog. And I thought I put that dog out. And he said, I don't want to go into the bathroom in the house. I don't want to deal with it. So he was still on the phone with his friend, and he's walking around looking, to put the puppy out, and he can't find it anywhere. And he goes and looks out the back door, because we've got an old farmhouse style door with the big glass window in it. And he looks out onto the back deck, and the puppy's outside looking back at him. So the dog was never in the house. So he finally saw the ghost dog, and now he believes me that there's a ghost.
You're like, well, thanks now for believing me. Yeah.
So, there are things like, those type of things. And, you see the movement, you see I've always seen that. Everywhere I go, you see that. Sometimes it ramps up, sometimes it's more active, sometimes it's less active, but the only time, and this house is very comfortable. Like there's nothing negative in this house. I know that there's a lot of activity that goes on here, but it's nothing negative, except that one time that I know I've said before. If you guys want me to tell it, I can tell it. That one time that thing came in my house. I still don't know what the heck that was.
Yeah, tell that story. That's a really cool story, though.
Yeah, so Chris was working second shift, so it was me and my mother and Lucas. And my mother's bedroom is at the back of the house with, Lucas's bedroom's back there, and my bedroom's like up towards the front of the house. And that night, Lucas, before I heard it, before anything happened, it was a very windy night. It was in the fall, because I remember there were a lot of leaves that were scratching around outside. It was a really windy night. And I was in my bedroom, and Lucas was in the living room. And he came running in my bedroom, just running in there. And he jumps in my bed. And when he was younger, when he was scared, he'd like over exaggerate the shaking. And he jumps in my bed and he's shaking like this. And I'm like, what's going on? And he said, there's a scary noise outside.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So I get up and I go out to the living room, and I've got like two of the walls are just all windows. And I'm looking around, and it's windy and there's leaves. And I told him, it's nothing, honey. It's probably just the leaves scratching across the deck. I'm sure it's pretty windy. I was like, don't be afraid. It's okay. I'm here. And a little bit goes by. We all go to bed. Lucas decides he wants to sleep with me. My mother goes to bed. I'm sitting there, I think I was reading, and I heard a weird noise. I did hear a weird noise, and it was out, like, because I'm in the dining room right now, so it would have been outside of these windows. And what Lucas heard was outside the living room windows over here. And what I heard when I was in my bedroom would have been outside these windows. So it was kind of like circling the outside of my house, right? And I remember it was a weird noise. And I remember thinking, I don't know what that is. It was definitely outside of the house, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was. It didn't sound like an animal. It was just a really weird noise. And I thought, okay, well, maybe that's what Lucas heard. I don't know. Like, he's a little boy, everything's scary in the dark. So I put the book down, turn out the light. I'm laying there. I have my bedroom door open. Immediately outside my bedroom door is the music room. And if you walk outside my bedroom door into the music room, to the left is the French doors that lead into our living room. Mm-hmm. And the front door is right there, right? So as I'm laying there, I am about to go to sleep, not quite asleep. And suddenly, and the house is dark and quiet. And all of a sudden I hear this screech, this like just long, loud. It sounded just like that, but louder and longer.
That was quite creepy, by the way.
Yeah, I scared. I did that on Josh's show, and I think it freaked Abe out. And but it was moving through my house. Like you could tell the sound was moving. Like it was in the living room, coming like towards the music room, towards my open bedroom door. And that was like the only time I've been like scared, like in this.
That was making that sound all the way to you?
Yeah. It was it was that screechy noise, loud, coming. It was definitely inside the house and it was moving towards me. Like it was getting louder.
You know what that screech reminded me of? That movie 31 Days of Night.
Yeah.
With the screeching vampires and that.
Right.
Now that was creepy. That's what you sounded like. That's very, very creepy.
It is creepy. Imagine hearing that like
vampires
in person. Yeah. Right. And the minute I hear that, like my mind lights up because I'm like half asleep. My mind lights up. I'm thinking all like every horror movie I've ever seen is like going off in my head, right. And so I fly out of bed and because I sleep closest to the bedroom door. So like a jack in the box, I pop up out of bed and I run and I shut the bedroom door and I shut it quietly and I know I'm like holding the bedroom door shut and it stops making the noise and I'm listening because my house is silent to see if I hear anything moving. And I'm thinking, this is the stupidest thing. I'm thinking, can I get to the gun? Like, what am I going to do? Shoot the ghost? Like, but that's where my mind goes automatically. Like, how fast can I get to the gun? Like, if I let go of the door, can I get to the gun before whatever gets to the... That's just where my mind went.
Right. Protection. You're trying to think of any way to protect yourself when you probably needed like cross, some salt,
like
iron,
water. Like iron, right? For sure. I needed the fireplace poker in the living room.
That would have worked. There you go.
And so I don't hear anything. And all of the hair like on my body is standing up. I am like wide awake now, freaked out. And I let go, of the door and I back away and I'm just sitting on the side of my bed, in the dark thinking, what do I do? Like, what the hell was that? Just trying to figure it out. And I hear click, click, and my door swings open.
No.
And I'm like, oh, hell nah. Like, I think I said that out loud. And I turned my light on. Like now I've got like goosebumps all over me. Like my hair again is standing up. And so I turned the light on and thank God Lucas did not wake up because that was my main concern, like him getting freaked out.
Right.
And so then I get mad. Like, I sit and I think about it for a minute. I'm like, what the hell is this thing? I did not let it come in. I did not tell it could come in. Like there's no welcome mat on my front door. There is no energy in here inviting that shit into my house. So I proceeded to go through my house, turn every light on and just kick it out. I was like, this is my house. This is my space. You are not welcome. I did not invite you. Get out. Out. Right. Empty rooms. I'm sure I looked insane if you would have walked in. But I was like, this is my energy. This is my space.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's where I draw the line. That's where I draw the line. It's my nephew was here visiting just a couple weeks ago, and I walked in the house, I think it was yesterday, the day before, and I always have my welcome mat turned around. So the welcome is like when you're going outside, and it was turned around the other way last night. Last night or the night before, I was like, oh, nope. So I hurried up and flipped it back around. So you're only welcome outside. You're not welcome inside.
Right.
That's all you get.
I mean, nothing on my front porch says any kind of welcome.
Nothing says come in.
Yeah, it says like give thanks or something because it's fall.
Right, right.
Happy Thanksgiving, welcome fall. Not even that.
Not even that.
Did you hear about the people that turned the welcome mat upside down?
That's what I do.
That's what she did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what I do. It's
welcome mat facing down though, towards the gates of hell, you mean?
Oh gosh, no.
Yeah.
No, I put welcome as when you're walking out of the house, it's right side up. But if you're walking in the house, it's upside down. You're reading it upside down. But the welcome is always on the top. I never flipped that mat upside down ever.
Okay, good. Yes, right. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, I almost bought one that said "Go away," like
"Go away." Not invited.
Yeah.
Then your guests come over, not invited. Okay, Monica.
I guess I need one that says "Who asked you?" I mean, that's what I need to put on my mat. Who asked you? Because it's not me.
Just get one that says "F off."
Right. Just go away.
Yeah, there's always that kind of stuff. Yes.
Yeah, I mean it went away. It hasn't come back, thank goodness. And
I don't know.
But I don't know what that was. I don't know what made it. I mean, it came in, but it got right back out. And I mean, when Lucas, whenever he would get scared, and I still tell him, I was like, whatever it is, I was like, it needs to be more afraid of your mom than you are of it. I promise you. I promise you.
I don't know if it may have been a warning of some sort, or was this a straight up haunting, or
I don't know if it was just something passing by.
Right.
Because energies, things are attracted by different energies. Maybe I don't know if it read one of us. I don't know.
It could have been just like, hey, Monica.
Yeah.
And then leaves. Maybe that's what it was doing, Screeching as it comes by, going, "Oh, I'm not stopping here. Oh, hell no." Let's just keep going.
I mean, once I got done being freaked out, I was like, nah, ow.
I don't know. I don't know. Because right there, you can't debunk it. You can't recreate it.
And I've tried because, Chris was trying to rationalize it and say, oh, it was the HVAC system. And I was like, that was not our friggin' HVAC system, because if it was an issue with the HVAC system, we would have heard it multiple times by now, because this was like 3 years ago. It was not recently.
You would have a major problem, I think, if it was your HVAC.
Well, I would have, and I would have heard it repeatedly, and he would have heard it also. It wouldn't have been a one-time thing.
Yeah, but this happened one time only, where you're in bed.
Yeah. And Lucas heard it outside of the house. I heard, it's definitely what I heard, up close and personal, but what I heard like out here when I was like, oh, that's a weird sound. Yeah, because it was a kind of a screechy sound.
Yeah.
That I had heard outside of the thing. Now, I didn't hear what Lucas heard. I'm only assuming that's what he heard, but it tracks.
Yeah.
He said there's a scary noise.
Yeah.
I was reading a little bit, Chad. I know Breezy had made a point or two. I think all houses, Joe had mentioned something in chat, I forget, but it's kind of along these lines. I think every house, do you think it's fair to say that everybody's house, whether you buy them new, have them built, even have them built, or buy them from that are 50 years old, there's energy in all houses, right? And I'm not going to say maybe they're all haunted, but don't you think there's some activity in all houses? It's just some houses more prevalent than others, and some it's so minuscule that you probably don't even notice it. You know what I mean?
I would say that hauntings can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
And we, as we were talking earlier, it's not necessarily the house. It could be the ground. But then again, you can also have hauntings by how much energy is in the home. So it could be a brand new home and you have so much energy in it that it just says, hey, come on in.
And
we're having a party.
People are just not going to pay any attention to it either, I think, too.
Right. That too. That too.
I think some people are more disposed to noticing things. I mean, if it's screeching in your face, there's no denying that. But little subtle things.
But would you also agree that people manifest these things?
Yeah, I think that some people are haunted, for lack of a better term, like they attract the energies.
Yeah, it's just kind of like they're like, they just put off that vibe, or they just don't shut it. They just don't turn off the light, is what I'm trying to say. They just leave the light on all the time, and it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Some people are magnet.
You're a beacon for it. Like it's just attracted to you.
The beacon, like the story I did last week. Very good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They just don't turn the light out.
Yeah.
The light that never ends.
That's right.
Unless you're me. Unless you're me, of course, on the Great Lakes.
Right.
But that's again a story that I will save for another time. But I do believe, yes. So I just think that the more I've been doing this, the more energy abounds all of us. Even you made a point, Monica, when I was thinking, as a little kid, everything in the dark scares us, right? And I'm trying, and as you were talking, I'm trying to think in my head all the scary noises I heard as a kid, right? Yes, believe it or not, I have a great memory. I remember my classmates from kindergarten. It's the weirdest thing. All my teachers' first and last names, I could go back in my head. And I remember all these crazy sounds as a kid that I heard that spooked me. And as I got older, here's one of the two things, though. I never noticed them again, or I blew them off. Or do you think that maybe it was something that was trying to get to you as a kid? I wonder. Just makes you wonder, what some of this stuff is. Our own imaginations as kids. Because you know how many times I was told, Rob, you're having a bad nightmare. When I know, in fact, I wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And these things, could be just attracted to children, right? Because energies can feed off of energies. Just like Baba Yaga in the beginning eats children. These things could be feeding off the energy of kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kids have a strong energy.
Right.
They're healthy. They're young.
Yes.
That's a strong life force for you could call it.
Yep.
Right. You're right. And text in chat brings up a good point. If someone who is actually building your house, say if you get a brand new one, has bad energy connected to them and spends a lot of time in your property or space or whatever building, could they leave that energy there or leave a piece of it?
Yeah, I think that they could leave an imprint of it there, and that could attract something, but I don't think that, like with a house this old, just being part of the construction team would have done that. They would have had to have done a lot more for it to linger. But like I said, like this house specifically, my house, I don't have bad feelings in like that. I don't feel like there's anything negative here. That was something transient. That was something just passing.
Yeah, it's the same thing here with everything that goes on. Everything that goes on in my home, I don't feel anything. I'm not scared of it, or it's not bad or anything. But I also know the history of my home, which the people who built it are still alive. The first family that owned it are still alive. So it's kind of like nobody's passed away in the home and blah blah blah. But it's just the energy, that's been through here. And there has been some negative energy, especially, there were some squatters in here before. And we think it was the previous owners that got, they didn't pay their bill. So it got foreclosed on. And then they were squatting in the house because it's rural. Nobody's going to come on, just go by every day to see who's living in the house, right? So, and there was just a lot of bad things when I got the house out of foreclosure. There were like holes in the walls, there were like doors ripped off, and there was stuff that needed to be done to the house. So you knew right then by looking at it that there was a lot of bad emotions that had run through the house. And we know that those emotions are very strong and create a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that I guess when you guys brought it up, even about like my brother's house was built on an actual burial ground, right? Where people were massacred.
Yep.
And it wasn't my brother's wasn't the only house haunted. It was his neighbor that he ran into and told him. And it was the entire neighborhood. And since my brother moved out some 20 years ago now, you can buy the house. Okay, what he paid for his house 20 years ago, you can probably get for the same price today. Because people just, it's turnover. In fact, most of the houses there today, you guys, the community is now run down. It was very nice at the time. It's run down, and they're all rental cooperatives now.
Right.
So, I mean, you know.
You just never know what's running through the property sometimes. You just never know, especially when it comes to rental property, because if it's high turnover, you just never know. You never know.
Because I got some stories I'll be doing, like I do all the videos. You know, I'm doing Halloween stuff, and I came across haunted hotels and also haunted apartment buildings because of the amount of people that go through these places. They say that in hotel rooms alone, in any room in a hotel, I was doing some research. 1 in 10 of the rooms has had a murderer in there and slept in your bed that you're sleeping in.
Mm-hmm.
1 in 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Yeah, kind of creepy.
Yeah, I usually when I travel and stuff, I will take a spirit box and stuff with me, and I will turn them on.
I mean, like any murderer, not when I mean murderer, I mean a person that plans it, executes it, not somebody happened to kill someone on accident, an actual evil person.
A murderer.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I believe that.
Yeah. I mean, I believe it. I mean, there's so many people in the world, but you know.
Right.
Oh, wow.
They say you've probably walked by 1,000 in your life if by the time you hit the age 50 in the public.
Sure.
Just don't know it.
I always wonder, like, have I ever, not that I want to find out, but have I ever, like, crossed the sight of a serial killer? Like, have they ever been like, you know, not that I want them to linger a long time on me. That's okay. But, you know, you pat, like, how many have I passed? Who were they?
Yeah.
Did they even look at me? Not that I want them to. Did they even look at me? Did they look at my friend? Like anybody I was with? Like, you know.
Right.
I'm even wondering, it makes me think about everything is timing. How many times you were in the right place at the right time when you left somewhere, or maybe somebody was killed, which I think you guys would know that, but maybe where, like you, Monica, you know, in the business you're in, how do you know that you weren't checked out or your site was checked out, but then the guy, if it was a serial killer or a person wanted to hide a body, they decided, no, I'm going to try this other area. But yours was a target. Yours was on, you know, yours was in the plan A, B, and C, and you were A, they picked C. I mean, you just don't know that. And I'm talking in general for everybody and whatever, you know, I mean, how many times were you looked at and when you were a little girl growing up with your mom and dad, I'm going to kidnap that little girl?
Somebody did try to kidnap me once.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Like actively, like tried to get me in the car when I was like 7, like 6, 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It scared the hell out of me. Like scared. Mm-hmm. Like I remember I was so scared I couldn't scream. Like nothing was coming out. Because it was like right around the time Adam Walsh, like when people were really freaked out about, like suddenly, not that kidnapping was anything new, but it was like, finally being like publicized.
Yeah, but don't you think that sometimes, we need to hear about this stuff. We need to get it out there. We need to find these people. Do you not think, though, that this kind of spurs other people to commit those type of crimes because they're hearing about it? You know what I mean?
Like copycat, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Hang on. Sorry, Brandi. Granddaughter says Rip Adam Walsh. What's the dad's name? Adam Walsh?
John Walsh is the dad. Adam
I
Walsh
thought the dad. I thought he was returning to the dad. Like, I didn't hear that news. Adam was the kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, you guys, on that note, we've been on almost 2 hours. We can wrap this all up, I think.
Yeah.
I got to get up early. I don't know. You guys get to probably sleep in. Well, Brandi gets up early anyways. Brandi's got to go.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter what time I go to bed. It's always the same time I get up.
Brandi's always. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm the same way too. I get up every day.
Your body wakes you up when it's used to it.
I don't even need the alarm. I put on the alarm as a backup on the phone, like an hour after when I really want to get up. But I always beat it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's always weird. It's always like 7:14 too. It's not like 7 o'clock, 7:30, 6:30. It's 7:14. Literally, it is. I got to play those numbers.
Yeah, I'm thinking pick 30.
Yeah, play the 3-digit.
That's
remember us. When you win, remember us.
Well, the 3 numbers is only $80. I won $80 once playing the 3-digit. That was it.
Oh.
That was the only time I played.
That's nice. I mean, that's
you won.
Yeah, 100%. Success rate.
Well, here's the thing with me. I'm very good at this because we had the lottery machines in the bar, and if I started playing that in the bar, I'd spend too much money. So I stayed away from it. But the one time I played, I won. Maybe my ghosts were looking out for me that night.
Right? Your
Maybe.
Spirit guides.
Yeah.
Spirit guides, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When you get the urge, go buy a ticket with the numbers that are in your head.
Now, I will buy the numbers if I get an urge, I get a good feeling about something. Yeah, I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to play because,
I do that with my mom. It's just like we'll play the lottery. It's like tonight I went and got us Powerball tickets, and I get 2 single tickets, and I'll walk up to her and I'm like, "Which one you want?" And she'll just pick the one she wants. It doesn't matter who wins. You know what I mean? But that's what we do. That's how we play. It's just like, okay, you pick your winning ticket.
Oh, sure.
Well, I do notice too that a lot of your older people they like to buy the bingo ones. There's a cash word or bingo. How do I know all this? Because we sold them, at the bar. But they'd come and just
I didn't
buy
even know
those.
there was a bingo one.
Yeah,
there is in many states. There's the bingo. Forget it. Just
You're like, don't go there, Monica.
No, but the thing is, and they're so elaborate where I can see an older person
spend more time playing. That's
you
what
can sit down. You scratch it off, and it takes. You can make a game out of it, literally, for yourself for a half hour.
I haven't got that much time. I want to know if I got money right now.
And there's like cash word and stuff like that. The people play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't play.
I mean, if I want to play bingo, I'll go to a bingo hall, I suppose.
Hey, you know what I did sometimes at the bar?
We need to get together and play bingo.
I love bingo.
Yeah, bingo is kind of fun. But here I am with scratch offs, and again, I never bought them at the bar. I'd rip off, I'd pull out a couple, pay for them. I'd pay for all my stuff, and then I wouldn't even scratch it off. I'd scan it to see it was a winner without even scratching it.
Right.
Cheater.
Is it a winner?
You waste your
We don't
time.
even want to play anymore. Well, we just all need to get together and play some bingo.
We do.
Find a bingo hall and
next time we get together, we'll have to play bingo.
That's it.
Hey, bingo's fun. Bingo's never will go away. Quick story about lottery tickets at the bar. I had a roll of 500. Now I know this because of experience, and then my lottery rep got to know me. 500 tickets, because they would tell me what the winnings were on all my tickets, right? That I sold. the most on 500 tickets where you could win anywhere from $2 to like 500,000, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The most any one roll of 500 did for me, or not for me at all. The most money that people collected won $137.
Okay.
So put the numbers together, do the math. Wow. Tremendously horrible odds.
Dad, that's bad.
Yeah. It costs more money to buy the tickets than winners.
Yeah. That's right. Well, that's the plan.
To stop giving you shitty rolls.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Now that's bad luck too. I will say that is some bad luck. Because if they're all paying off that, nobody would buy the damn things.
Right. Exactly.
Well, this was fun as always, gals. Thanks everybody for coming on in. Appreciate y'all. Midnight. Well, it's going on 2 a.m. for me. Witching hour is 3 a.m. I always thought it was 12, but it's actually 3 a.m. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. That's
3
why
to 4. No prayers are said. Yep.
That's why I go to bed at 4. Not tonight, though. I don't know. I'm just looking for the extra music here, guys. I got to start deleting some of this. I know I've said this 3 weeks in a row. Here we are. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Brandi. Tonight is Sunday for me. So, yeah, you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. See a fresh Monday. We're on every day of the week, so it seems. I do not give out the schedules. You know who we are. You know that you can find us simply by turning on the alert bell and subscribing. That's all you need to do. It's that easy. Alert bell, like on your way out the door. You like that on your way out the door when you hit that click button. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye, buddy.